Greetings, groovy people. This is the self-proclaimed Blue Dragon, and I welcome you to this Wednesday's video. It's November's Q&A. Gosh, it's that time of the month already. Everything's coming up roses. Or thorns. You know, everyone's thorny here. I almost named it Nothing But Flowers, you know, like the Talking Heads song. Oh my gosh, actually that probably would have made more sense since, you know, the story is like, you know, post-apocalyptic and all that, but I didn't. I probably should have. But I like the idea of the roses, but in the thorns, you know, a little bit better. I think that's a little bit more appropriate for Odysseus and his power, because that's kind of what most of the questions were about this time round. I have some other questions that I've written off for next month, or written down for next month, but yeah, this month's Q&A revolves around Odysseus. And yeah, there are two warnings I've got to give to you guys. First off is for spoilers for those of you reading on the Act 3 Revamp. I have two questions from that, so stick around. I'm gonna tackle those first, and then I'll put up a warning. I'll let you guys know when we're getting into the Act 6 questions. And then the other thing is, you know, what's going on in the background? I am inking an Act 6 page, and guess what the subject is? There's some Word of Wednesday allusion to sex. Naughty bits, adult situations, you know what it means. You know, I mean, you know what that means. I don't know what that was. See, I'm really bad with the British accent. I'm so sorry. I was trying to do like a Monty Python thing. But yeah, at the end of the video, I post the completed image. So yeah, if you're, you know, this is for adults only, you guys. I'm talking about adult subjects for an adult audience, for an adult comic that's not safe for work. There's nips and all adult male parts, all kinds of stuff, but it's not like porn or anything. But there's nothing is safe for work. So if you're a kid, this is not targeting you. Go away. I hope that's good enough. Okay, anyway, let's get on to this. So, first Revamp, the first question is, what are those masks? Now, for those of you who are watching this video, you're coming here from Comic Fury, you're not going to be familiar with the scene that in Act 3 that's this person was asking the question about. So what I've done with Act 3 is I've gone back, rather where Act 2 sits right now on Comic Fury, we just see Odysseus meeting up with Kana, but I'm actually rewound it a little bit and I'm showing what happened to Odysseus just prior to that scene. So they're referring to the scene where Odysseus is being beaten up by these they're getting ready to find out who those people are, so I'm not going to spoil that. But they are interrupted by these creepy floating masked creatures coming out of the woods. So regarding the masks, what are those? Who are they? I'm not going to divulge who they are because it's going to be spoilers. I will say that they are fae folk and they are wearing fox masks. And I think that's pretty much all I can say about them. I'm doing some foreshadowing here, but I also don't want to have any spoilers, so that's all I'm going to say. We will see them again later in the series. Next question, is there any special significance or meaning to the statue in the cemetery? Again, if you're coming from Comic Fury, well, I mean, you would have seen kind of what was happening, but the cemetery where Kana meets Odysseus, there's this big angel statue, and yeah, to answer the question, yes, there is significance. That is supposed to be depicting Kana after she healed the world. I mean, since so many, most people passed away, the government, as they start to form, they had to create a lot of graves. Now, they were doing other things to dispose of bodies also, if people happened to know who they were and whether or not they wanted to be cremated. Nobody really knew. So some of it, I mean, I don't want to really get into it right now, but there are mass graves, and then there was cremations and all kinds of things going on to get rid of as much of the dead as respectfully as possible. But for some of these cemeteries, the government marked a lot of them with these idealized statues of Kana, and we're gonna see her dress in Act 4. Oh my gosh, we're gonna see her in the dress. But yeah, it's partially because people are, genuinely kind of idol worshipping this 18-year-old girl. And part of it's also propaganda by the government, so... And also, it should be noted that Kana and Rin actually did help bury a lot of those bodies, because it's going to be more into the next series who, some of the people that they knew who passed away. I don't really want to talk about that right now, but they did actually help bury a lot of people, even though they were so young. Yeah, so this point in the video, if you don't want any spoilers, if you are on here from the Revamp, you might want to go to the timestamp that I have flashing above the video here, because I'm getting into the Act 6 questions. And for any of you just joining us, gosh, I should have said this at the beginning of the video, the links to my comics are down below in the description. They are free forever. Well, I mean, unless you want to buy it. You can buy it too, but mostly it posts for free because I'm like that. Anyway, the first question for Act 6. Who is the giant green-haired lady? This question is referring to the opening part of Act 6, the color pages. I can't spoil who she is. Again, such good questions, but I don't want to spoil anything. I will tell you a little secret. I answered this on the Comic Fury site, but she is a forest dragon, and she is connected to Odysseus. And that's all I can say about that. Next question. Does Odysseus's dragon curse make him able to talk to the dragon lady? So that was in response to finding out who she was, or what I should say the giant person was. And, the answer to that question, though, did the curse enable him to talk because, he was the dragon, turned into a dragon except for on the full moon? The answer would be no. If anything, the curse inhibited his ability to reach any magical potential. He's always had the ability to reach out to her, but he was unable to will it so. In other words, he never had the will or desire to reach out for help. And I'll leave that at that. Because, again, no spoilers. Next question. Did Yuli break his dragon curse? Yes, actually he did. That was a really good question. And it was good of them to notice that. When his third eye is opened, he is officially free of the confines of the curse. However, true curses like the one that Keisuma put on him, they leave scars on the soul, so we'll just have to see how that manifests. And the last question for this month. Can the characters obtain each other's powers? So, depending on what power this person was talking about, I think they were alluding to, how Odysseus is now fighting with thorns and plants and, stuff like that. So the answer is going to be no. They might be alluding to the elemental charge, which I'll get to that in just a second. But the power that he's using is his own soul magic, and that is his element. That's the element that he has. And Rin's is water. That's her element. Nobody else can have her specific power. Same thing for Kana, same thing for Shimiko, although it's gonna get a little hazy later on in the series, but we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. So that magic is theirs, and it can't be swapped out. That's gonna be something important, but again, no spoilers, and it's gonna be something that's kind of important to know later in the series. But there's elemental magic in the world, so it's not that, Kana can't do water magic. She just can't do Rin's magic. She can't do whatever attacks or powers that Rina has. She could maybe do some things with water, but that's just from whatever magic is floating around in the world that happens to be elemental. And the same thing for the other characters. So yeah, those were actually some really good questions. Kind of puts me on the spot, which is good because then I have to, think about this and think of how I want to word it. So I love the questions. Keep them coming. I appreciate everyone who weighed in. If you want to have first grab at the monthly questions, you can do so by becoming a patron at the $10 level or higher, if you're an adult. Speaking of, thank you to my amazing patrons. You guys rock. I like to say rock like that. I don't know, there's something wrong with me. Thank you also to those of you out there watching and, the people reading Dark Horse. It'll always be for free for adults at the links below. If you liked the video, please like, sub, do the bell thing, all that good stuff. And then the question of the week: if you could have any power, elemental or otherwise, any power, any at all, use your imagination, what would it be? Alright, answer that below. Thank you, peace and love, fare you well, and keep on trucking.